Our guest presenter today is TJ Pridell. TJ is with us from the company that produces Reference USA, Info Group, and he's going to talk to you about uncovering some other possibilities for Reference USA, like career searching. This is a time when we've all had to ask ourselves some questions, some critical questions about where our lives, where our careers are headed. Even if we are entrepreneurs. And so this is going to be an excellent way for you to use this tool to get some direction or at least some leads on other possibilities for your job search or your entrepreneurial endeavors. So I'm Jennifer Price. I'm your business reference librarian, normally stationed at the Business and Nonprofit Center at Middle Georgia Regional Library. However, we're glad to be able to bring this presentation to you virtually. I want to take a moment and introduce one of our partners, our community partners, the Middle Georgia SCORE, which is a volunteer program, a volunteer service for free business mentoring, free business coaching. So those of you looking to start a business can contact SCORE for some free assistance. So let me turn it over for just a moment to Mr. Matt McKenna, who has joined us today. Matt is the chair of our local chapter of SCORE. Matt, thank you for being here. Would you like to go ahead and give us an overview of SCORE's services?
Yes, just briefly, I know because I know this is more focused on job search, but the just SCORE is a nationwide 10,000 plus volunteer organization, provides mentoring and education for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And I know we have a number of people who are working either full-time or part-time and have their own business on the side. So I would like to just say, if you're interested in talking to a mentor, if you go to our website at middlegeorgia.score.org, that's middlegeorgia.score.org. There's a place to sign up for a mentor session. And we also have a number of free resources in terms of templates and webinars and things like that. And I'd just like to thank Jennifer for including us. It's been a great partnership. As I said, we're a volunteer nonprofit organization, so anything we can do, anyone we can partner with, try to help create more economic activity in Middle Georgia, we're really excited about it. So thank you, and I'll turn it back to you, Jennifer.
Matt, thanks so much. And thank you for a great partnership so far. We're looking forward to things to come. And now I will turn it over to our guest presenter, Mr. TJ Pridell, so that we can go ahead and get started with today's workshop. TJ, thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Matt. Obviously, libraries across the United States are a firm supporter of Reference USA, so it's great that they can host a resource such as that and make a job-seeking tool, entrepreneurship market research tool available to you as a patron of a library free of charge. SCORE is one of our biggest user bases across the United States, and it's great that they've got expert consultants on standby that can couple their expertise with our information. So definitely take advantage of both resources if you can. Brief introduction. So my name's TJ. I am the Reference USA account manager for the state of Georgia. I've actually been an account manager in the New England area as well as Maryland and DC for the past 5 years. I was actually just handed Georgia and Florida in my territory as of recently. I had some travel planned to the Panhandle. I was going to make my way up to the Atlanta metro area. I was real disappointed that I had to cancel that travel plans when the coronavirus hit. So all my travel plans were sort of nixed. Usually I'm out in the states that I manage on a monthly basis. So I would be out in the Atlanta, Georgia area pretty frequently. But I guess that's not the case, at least for the rest of this year. My only memories from being at Atlanta, I've been there twice. We went there as a kid, and I remember we toured the Coca-Cola facility, and we did some other things around the area. And we went to a gas station across the street from it. A guy rammed his car into one of the gas pumps. It was leaking gas all over the place. My parents bolted. So that's
Oh,
actually one
no.
of my only memories from Georgia. Not a real
That's
pleasant
not
one.
good.
The place was cool. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is step one. How do you access Reference USA? And that's going to be through your library website. Times are unusual, so we're probably going to be accessing this from home. So get on the Middle Georgia Regional Library website, which is bibblib.org. And then, Jennifer, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll find us under the, library services, and then under business services.
Business services, I'm popping I just dropped that link into the chat, the direct address to the Business and Nonprofit Center webpage. So bibblib.org/BANC, and you're there. There you are, TJ.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So right from the home page, you'll see that at the top, Business and Nonprofit Center. This is the direct link there. And then there's Reference USA listed down here.
It is.
Yep.
We passed it. Yep, there we go.
So here's an introduction to Reference USA.
And the link just above should take us right to the interface.
Excellent. Okay.
There we go.
So all you need to do is click that link. It'll take you to our terms and conditions page. You'll agree to it, click accept, and they'll ask you to put in your library card number. Once you do that, that'll bring you to our home page that you see here. A little bit about Reference USA. So we are owned by a parent company called Info Group, and we're based out of Omaha, Nebraska, and that's actually where I'm presenting to you from today. So we started in 1972 as a form compiler. So the guy who started the company collected white pages, yellow pages, government blue pages. He wasn't a crazy person. There was a good use for that. He would distribute sales leads to businesses, names, addresses, and phone numbers. Simple as that. Since then, we've expanded quite a bit. So now we collect from thousands of sources on the business side and hundreds of sources on the consumer side. So we'll be able to tell based on the Secretary of State filings, Better Business Bureau listings, utility connects and disconnects, where a business is located, what the name of the owner is, what industry they associate with, what their contact info is. And then all of those data points become searchable to you as the user. So if you wanted to find all the manufacturers in the Atlanta metro, or if you're looking for beauty salons in your local area because you're a beauty salon wholesaler of beauty salon products, you can find businesses most likely to buy your products and services. Now, other uses, of course, what we're here to talk about today is the job seeking portion. So how can I find a new career or find a job in the marketplace that's currently available today using this resource through the library? Uniquely enough, that's actually how I started using Reference USA. I was a patron at Omaha Public Library, and I used it to find a job. Ironically, I ended up working for them. It's really a funny story how that ended up happening, but I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later. So the first thing I want to point out, if English is your second language and it'd just be easier to translate this resource into your own language, we do have a translator up at top. So we've got one of 10 languages you can translate Reference USA into here. Visit our Learning Center. We do daily interactive webinars. It'll teach you how to grow your business using Reference USA, how to find a job. There's a librarian training. It's also good for patrons too. It's a good holistic overview. If you're a little bit more introverted like me, you don't have to talk with one of our trainers. You can just look at our archive videos. Gets the point across just the same. For those of you who may have unfortunately lost their job due to COVID-19, we do have a COVID-19 resource page. It'll show you our healthcare information and how to find a job in the marketplace today, which is some of the things we're going to talk about here soon. So keep that in mind. I don't expect you to retain everything we discussed today. So if you need a refresher, keep the Learning Center in mind. If you scroll down to the bottom of our page, we have our 1-800 line and our email address. So if you ever have any questions, you can always call us. That routes directly to me or one of the other 20 account managers in our department. So we're not just salespeople, we're also customer service representatives. If you like me, you're more than happy to ask for me directly, and I'm happy to help you out beyond this, past this presentation. So you'll see Reference USA as one of 10 different modules available to you. Each of them serves a uniquely different purpose. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the U.S. jobs and internship application, and then the U.S. business application as well. So I'm going to start out in the most simplistic fashion of how I can find a job using Reference USA, which is in our U.S. jobs portal. So I'm going to click on this. Oh, and before I get too far, it looks like most of you are currently muted, so I can't hear you. So if you do have any questions, please type them into the chat box, and then I'm happy to address any questions as we go. All right, so right now we're in the jobs and internships portal. You're going to see two primary search functions, quick search and advanced search. Quick search is a simplistic way of just finding a job based on the job title. So if you're looking for all nursing positions in the Atlanta metro area, you know, just type in nursing in Atlanta and then boom, there you have it. It's going to be a list of postings from Indeed.com. So we've got a partnership with Indeed. All the job postings will be through the Indeed portal. There's linkage to our U.S. business database so that you can research that company before you go in for that interview. So if you do secure an interview, visit our business portal and then you'll be able to see everything we know about that business, and then you can use that as talking points during your interview. More advanced way of using it, and this is how I like to use the jobs module, click on the advanced search tab. And then you can search for a job title by the exact phrase. It's a little bit more specific. So if you looked for the words, you know, marketing manager in the quick search, it's going to look for anything with the word marketing or manager in it. So it's not as exact. So I always like to search for the exact phrase, marketing manager. And then you can choose the type of job that you're looking for. So let's say you were one of those people who are unfortunately laid off due to COVID-19. Maybe you're just looking for a part-time opportunity, something to sort of pay the bills for now while you continue your job search for your more long-term career goals. You could look for all part-time positions, contract or temporary work. It's up to you what you make it, but you can designate the type of job that it is. You can use the salary estimate, but I actually don't advise you do that. If you do it, take it with a grain of salt. You're going to really limit your search results to the ones that publish a salary. Most job postings are not going to tell you what you're going to be making in the position. Unfortunately, you know, once you go through the interview process, you get to the negotiation part, that's when you're going to find out what you're going to make. But there are some transparent posts out there too. But just, you know, keep that in mind when you do your search. And then you can get a little bit more specific with the mile radius. So if you're looking within a certain mile radius of your city or town, you can do that here. And then what I find important is the age of the publishing. So when was this job posting published on Indeed? I like to do like 15 days or less. A lot of the publishings will show you like they've been available for 180 days. Most of those job publishings, either the employer forgot that they have that posting out there and it's just, you know, sitting out there and they've already hired for it. Or maybe they have a high turnover rate and they like to keep a publishing out there to collect resumes that they can call on at their convenience. Not very convenient for you as the job seeker. So I like to look for the ones that were just published. Let's look for marketing manager positions published in the last 15 days. Within a, say, 10-mile radius of Atlanta. Let's do Macon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm definitely not a Georgia native. All right.
Macon to be exact.
Macon.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where we are.
I figured I would butcher it. Macon, all right. Let's just do Atlanta for the sake of ease. Published within 15 days. All right, so these are all job publishings with the word marketing manager in the job title. You're going to see a listing of the jobs themselves. If you click on the job title, it's going to take you to Indeed.com. So this is where you would apply for the position. So we encourage you to have your Indeed resume and profile filled out in full if you're going to use Reference USA job portal to find a job. Now, if I go back to this, you also have the alternative option of check marking the job titles and then emailing them to yourself. So if you want to do this on your own time, you can just send the job publishings to yourself, distribute it to your email, and then follow up at your own convenience to apply for those listings of jobs. Now, let's say you did apply for that digital marketing manager position at Floor and Decor. If you wanted to know a little bit more about Floor and Decor, simply click on the company name, and it's going to translate you over to or transition you over to our business module. And then this will share everything that we know about that business. If you want to research that company before you interview, this is where you would do so. Okay. Pretty simple. I'm going to click on New Search and scroll down to the bottom. So at the bottom of this section is additional job resources. If you're not comfortable with your resume and the way that it's currently written, there are third-party links in this job resources section that'll show you how to build a better resume. There's aptitude testing if you want to continue your education. If you know that you've always wanted to be a certain job profession, but you don't know what steps you need to take to become that profession, there's a website called howtobecome.org that'll show you what steps you need to take to become a certain job profession. So keep these in mind. They're not affiliated with Reference USA, but we find them useful, and they're, of course, free to you to use. None of these charge a price. And then below this are self-serve content videos that'll show you how to use the jobs module in a quick video guide. Okay. So the jobs module is very simplistic, and I'm already done with it. So that's the very easy way to use Reference USA to find a job. It's not how I used it when I was a patron at Omaha Public Library, and I'm going to share that here now. So the other way that we're going to do so is through the US Business module. So I'm going to open up US Business. Again, you're going to see two search functions, quick search and advanced search. If you want to research an individual company, you'll just type in the name of that company in the quick search section. In the advanced search section, that's how you're going to build a market that's relevant to your interests. So let's say you've got, a great background in manufacturing and you just want to find all the local manufacturers. Pick up the phone and give them a call and let them know that you have experience in that industry and you're looking for work at the moment. Or maybe you want to print off a list of their websites so that you can visit each of their websites, find their job portal and apply for jobs directly on their website. You can do that through the advanced search section. So I'm just going to type in the name of a company we all know and love, Coca-Cola, out of Atlanta. Now, every Coca-Cola location is going to be listed here within the Atlanta area. So you'll have name of the company, name of the CEO or owner, where they're located, contact info. On the right-hand side, you're going to see either an up arrow or a down arrow. So up arrow means that that's a branch and they're owned by somebody else. If it's a down arrow, that means it's the corporate site and they're owned by, or they own entities underneath them. So if we're looking at this listing right here, you'll see that down arrow. That means that's the corporate location. And you can click on this corporate tree icon to view their ownership details. So if you're ever curious, like where is the corporate office for Home Depot, for Lowe's, for Best Buy, simply type in the name of the company, click that corporate tree icon, and we'll show you exactly where they're located and all the details you need to know about them. Coca-Cola is a huge publicly traded company. Their information is very easy to collect. Just know that we're also collecting small private company information as well, all the way down to that mom and pop like Dave's Donuts, employing less than 5 people. Those companies will be listed in our database too. This will show you that they're a beverage manufacturer out of Atlanta, Georgia. There's how many people they employ nationwide and what they make in sales revenue across the board. There's their branch locations, subsidiaries. Once we click on the company record itself, that'll take you to their detailed profile, which will share all the information we know about an individual business. So why I share this with you, we've got about 50 million business records in our database. So whichever place you go in to interview for, I encourage you to browse this and learn a little bit more about them. Most popular info is going to be up at the top. So it'll be their address, their phone number, their website, social media feeds if we have them, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. Here, this will show that this is a verified record. What that means is that an employee from our call center called this business and verified the information to be accurate and quality. So every year we're making about 25 million phone calls to verify the information in our database. Scrolling down, there is going to be a section of job listings. So if they are employing at that location, we'll show you which jobs are available. You can simply click more jobs and it'll take you to that Indeed section where you can see all the available jobs at that location. The industry profile is going to show you what they do. So you do not have to be an expert on these. So there's SIC codes and NAICS codes. These codes will classify a business into a specific industry. So this just states that Coca-Cola is a beverage manufacturer and here's their secondary industry functions. Unfortunately for me, when I started at Info Group, they made me memorize these codes. So I've got a bunch of useless knowledge in my head now. And I found out quickly that there was no need to know that information. So just know for you, you don't have to know any of these codes to run a search.
That's
It's
painful.
very
That's painful, TJ.
yes, it was. I agree. All right, so the business profile is a small blurb about the company. Usually we just pull this straight from the company website. What products they sell, why they're important, when they started. So just a brief synopsis of who they are. Google Maps is fully integrated with ReferenceUSA, so you'll see where that business location is located on a map. Alternatively, you can open Google Maps and draw out where you're looking for certain businesses, beauty salons, restaurants, hardware stores, etc. And then you can find a listing of all those business locations. Most people don't know this, but so let's open up Google and we type in Middle Georgia Regional Library. Name of a business, nonprofit, anything. That information that you're used to seeing on the right-hand side of Google, we actually provide to them. We do that for Yahoo, AOL, MSN, and Bing as well. So if you've ever used Google Maps to get you from point A to point B, you're actually using our addresses to get you there. So if you own your own business or if you're thinking of starting your own business, the first thing I always encourage people to do is update your information in ReferenceUSA. We'll share it with the online search engines so that you can be found in Yahoo and Google. When people, Google the name of your business or the name of your industry, you'll actually pop up. It's not like search engine optimization. You're not going to suddenly appear first in the search results, but you will appear, and that's very important. So I can't control the reviews, so if you get any bad ones, I can't do anything for you, Jennifer.
Good to know.
I think I see some nice ones here, so. Okay. All right, so moving back, our demographics section is going to share how many people they employ, are they publicly or privately held, how much they make in sales, etc. So some of the details behind the business. Like I said, Coca-Cola is a publicly traded company, so like their sales figures we can collect through their 10K filings. Private companies do not have to disclose their sales revenue info, but we will have figures on them. We have a model to estimate how much they likely make. It's through the economic census or the U.S. Department of Commerce. They provide averages based on their industry. So if you ever get really bored or you just need good reading material right before bed, click this link. It'll share all you need to know about how we come up with a sales algorithm. And that goes for anything that's underlined. So if you're ever wondering where our sourcing comes from and it's underlined, click on it and we'll share, where that comes from. So this shows that the Coca-Cola record was updated in June of 2020. Our bare minimum quality standards are to update a business record once per year. The smallest mom and pop shop will be getting updated at least once per year. These large public companies get updated probably 4 or 5 times per year. Just depends on the exposure that's available to them. Now the management directory is going to be the most popular section for like sales executives. And I also encourage you as a job seeker to use this section too. Now I'm going to preface this as a bold suggestion, so do keep that in mind and take this with a grain of salt. If you're starting to feel like you're just submitting your resume and cover letter to be, put into a black hole, never to be heard from again, a way to be proactive, find this management directory section. If you find an HR executive title and a name affiliated with them, pick up the phone and give them a call, ask for that person. Tell them, hey, I submitted my resume and cover letter for this job. I've got industry experience and background in this. When can I expect a call back or an interview? Leave it at that. Don't interview over the phone, but maybe that can get your resume pushed to the top of the pile. Excuse me. Okay, so I see Lisa Chang here as the HR executive, so that might be your contact. Now, it might not be the best suggestion for everyone. If you've got charisma and you're a little bit savvy and you're good over the phone, I just say go for it. What do you have to lose at that point? So here we've got names, titles, gender, and ethnicity of each of the individuals. These are the top level executives at the company. There's a big listing here. Okay. We do have a company news section. So if Coca-Cola or whatever business record you're currently in, if their name is mentioned in any reputable news source, it'll automatically publish here. We've got a partnership with Bing. So Bing's the one that hosts this for us. And then you can click on any of these third-party links where it says read more to read more about what's going on at the company currently. So if you get that interview and you're going in, read more about what's going on at the company right now, and then use that as talking points during your interview. So recent publishings will be up on top, older ones will file down below. Stock data, we do have it if you need it. So there's New York Stock Exchange info, there's a simple Google Finance link. You can see how they're doing in the stock market. The business expenditures is where that company is most likely to spend most of their money. With financials, a lot of this stuff gets modeled. And again, that's coming from government provided data. And this is how I started using the ReferenceUSA database a little more than 5 years ago. So I was a patron at Omaha Public Library. And I was looking for a job. So my roommate at the time told me I should use ReferenceUSA to find a job. So I started using it. I have industry background as a business development manager. I do outside sales, account management. So what I did, I printed out all the ReferenceUSA records that had high expenditures in the industry in which I was interviewing at. One of the jobs I was interviewing at was an office equipment and supply wholesaler. So I found all the Omaha businesses that had high expenditures in office equipment and supplies. Printed those records, brought them into my interview. The employer, I said, hey, if you hire me, I'm going to target all the businesses that are spending a lot of money in what you sell. Maybe you can help them reduce their costs and become a supplier for them. At the time, it was great. So I sort of saw the light bulbs go off. They didn't end up hiring me at any of the jobs that I'm using as an example. So I don't know if I'm a great example of how to find a job. Probably all using ReferenceUSA without me. That's okay. I ended up applying at Info Group. I had no idea they owned ReferenceUSA. So they asked me what I knew about the database. I said, oh yeah, I love your expenditures. The charts and graphs are cool. So I here purely by accident, but sometimes you just got to get lucky. So if you are in marketing or sales, this is going to be a very valuable section. Keep that in mind. UCC filings or Uniform Commercial Codes is going to show you where a company's assets are, the source filing IDs you'll be able to use. So if you're a lawyer, a banker, an asset manager, these might come in handy, but it's very specific. Nearby businesses are their neighbors, so businesses right next door. There's a small competitors report, so those are the companies that Coca-Cola is currently competing with. Now, this will be in a close geographic area. If you want a true competitive analysis, you would run an advanced search and then search for the industry that that company associates with in the geography that is their sales territory, and you can get a full listing of everyone they compete with. So this is always a great question for interviewers. You know, what are you currently doing better than this company? What competitive advantages do they have over you, and how do you combat against those? You know, where are you kind of the bread and butter of your industry, and where do you, you know, what's your source of pride in terms of what you do better than your competitors? Anything like that is really going to get a good conversation rolling. We do have historical data. It dates back to 1997. So you can see how a company structure has changed in terms of sales or employee size. So you'll see growth, decline. Investors will use this. People will get a better understanding of where a company is currently heading. And then if there's been any ownership changes, address location changes, CEO changes, you'll see that in this section here. Okay. So that is a detailed profile on an individual business. I'm going to open up questions right now before we move to the advanced search section. So if there are any questions about some of the details that I discussed so far, just go ahead and type your questions in the chat box and I'll address them now.
TJ, while we're waiting, I wanted to ask a question. You mentioned, and it's a good point for me to be able to make in the future with our regular classes, updating your business information in ReferenceUSA. Can you review that quickly?
Yeah. So right now we're at the top of the Coca-Cola record. And the easiest way, so if you find your business record in ReferenceUSA, maybe some of the information's outdated or old, one way to do this is to click on data feedback, and you can just type in the information that you know to be true.
Okay.
It's not like old school Wikipedia. We're not just going to throw the information in there. We'll verify the claims first.
Okay.
Fun fact, I was the NFL record holder for longest field goal for 1 year in Wikipedia when I was in high school. I thought that was funny at the time. It took them a year.
How about that?
The other way is to go to our sister website, expressupdate.com. So if you're not even listed in there at all, I would go to this website, claim your business listing, get it updated free of charge, and then we'll share it with those online search engines. It's very easy.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. And it looks like while we were talking, a question did pop into the chat from Mary. Am I understanding that if one does not have a library card, he or she cannot access this information? And I'll jump in on this, and TJ, whatever you know that I'm missing, if you'll please add. But you do need a Middle Georgia Regional Library Pines card to access Reference USA remotely. So you can use this resource from any internet connection as long as your library card is with the Middle Georgia Regional Library System. So if you have a library card with Houston County or DeKalb County, it will not work for your remote access. Now, for on-site access, which is limited these days because of COVID-19, because of our programming restrictions, but if you were going on-site to use Reference USA, any Pines card would work. Your Pines card would get you access to the computer, the public computer on which you would use this resource. So, and yes, Ms. Shinholster, Baldwin County is included in the, well, Baldwin does use the Pines system for library cards, and for that kind of access. But you would have to come on site to use your Baldwin County issued card. Alternatively, you could get a Middle Georgia Regional Library card if you wanted to access this remotely. So you can follow up with me via email. I'll drop my email address into the chat. If you feel that you need a Middle Georgia Regional Library Pines card, you can reach out to me directly about that. Okay, so I'll drop my email in the chat, and we'll get you more information on that for anybody who needs to sign up.
And take advantage of some of the other resources that the Middle Georgia Regional Library subscribes to as well. So Reference USA is probably one of multiple job sources that they provide currently. So if you don't have your library card, then definitely get it now. And I guess I'll leave that up to Jennifer on that.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to continue on. Keep typing in questions as you get them, and I'm glad to keep answering them as we go along. I'm going to open up advanced search now. Now, everything you see on the left-hand side of this page is all target market criteria you can apply to your market. So like I was saying earlier, if you have industry background in manufacturing and you just wanted to find all the manufacturers in your area, you could use this as a listing. Just get a list of their websites and apply for those positions right on their website. My wife had recently graduated from law school recently, and we ended up using Reference USA to help her find a job too. Unfortunately for attorneys, the marketplace is oversaturated. Everyone wants to be a lawyer, and there's not enough jobs to go around. So we had a tough time finding a job for her. She graduated near top of her class, and no one wanted to hire her. It's just sort of the nature of being an attorney in the Omaha area, at least. I don't know about the rest of the United States. But what we ended up doing was we looked for all the businesses in the Omaha metro area that employed over 500 people. The thought process being that a larger company could provide her with a stable salary and a stable position, with career trajectory and just more job security. So, what we did was we just found those businesses in the area with a certain employment size, produced a list, and then we went on each of their websites and applied for a job on their website. So something to keep in mind, like if you really like one job posting website like Career Builder, not all jobs are going to be published on that host. So like use Indeed, use Career Builder, use Monster, use LinkedIn, use Reference USA through our portal and the Indeed portal. Use as many sources that you can really think of. And then sometimes bigger businesses won't even post on LinkedIn. They just keep their postings on their website. So do keep that in mind, that as exhaustive as you think you're being, there's probably more things out there. So, keep searching. Now I'm going to run a very easy search. So let's use that manufacturing example. If you have experience in manufacturing and you want to find the businesses with manufacturing, two most important things are going to be the geography and the industry. So let's under geography, let's look under metro area. And then let's look around the Atlanta metro. Under business type, you can do a keyword search for the industry. So if that's, restaurants, you type in restaurants. Major industry group is for some of the larger groups, and manufacturing is one of them. So I'm going to click on manufacturing. But you can also click on keyword, and if you were looking for beauty salons, just type in beauty salons and then click on it. Easy as that. So now you're looking for beauty salons in the Atlanta metro area. But I'm going to close this out. I've check marked manufacturing. Get a little bit more fancy. I like to do search primary SIC only, which means that's their primary function. So there's almost 6,000 manufacturers. So if you wanted to look for those larger ones, same way that my wife and I did. So if your thought process is the same as ours, looking for job stability, I was laid off from my last job because it was a smaller business and the revenue was a little bit insecure. You can also overlay that with business size. So number of employees, let's say employing 100 or more. I update account again and it goes to 358. Now, if your thought process was, I'm going to apply directly on their website, if you scroll down to special selects, see web address as an option. And then you can search for only companies with a website. And then that goes down a little bit more beyond that. So now I'm going to view results. Now we have a listing of every manufacturer in the Atlanta metro area employing more than 100 people with a website available. And you can use this list, download it, export it into Excel, and then get a listing of all of their websites. So I'm going to check mark the records that interest me. And then you'd have to do this page by page. Check mark the ones that you want more info on. And if you click download at the top, you can extract this into Excel, a CSV format spreadsheet, choose a level of detail you want to see, and then download that info. Okay, so all that information that we saw in the Coca-Cola record is now condensed into a spreadsheet for those Atlanta metro area manufacturers. So addresses, executive names, where they're located. For the job seeking standpoint, I would actually just use a list of their websites. Oh, here it is. Okay. So there's their website there. So just put this, copy and paste that into your browser, go to their website. Usually at the bottom of their website, they'll have like a career portal that you can see what jobs are hiring for at the moment. If you are in the sales and marketing field, keep in mind that this Excel format is universally compatible with all CRM software. So if you've ever used Salesforce or HubSpot, you can load this into there and it'll automatically parse out by name, title, company description, website, etc. Then you can use that as your KPI tracker. If you're an entrepreneur, you own your own small business, you can use this for marketing campaigns. It's also compatible with Mail Merge. So you can upload it into Mail Merge, create a postcard, flyer, brochure, write up your marketing message, what you do as a company, and then try and gain new customers, as a way of direct mail. Now I'm going to go back. Past creating a list of companies relevant to your own interests, we're also good for market research, and you'll see the heat map or charts button. So if you click on heat map, this will show you a saturation report where those manufacturers are most densely located. So that 1-800 line that I had mentioned earlier, I love it and I hate it. So I love it. I get to hear how patrons are using Reference USA, and that's how we make enhancements and we make the database better. I hate it because I'll usually be running around the office with my hair on fire at all times, and then I'll get a call and I'll forget what I was doing, and then I end up roaming around the building for coffee and snacks. Now I'm at home, so it's not as much of a problem, but personal problem there. I had actually used this heat map. Patron had called in. They're in Stamford, Connecticut. They owned a pet store, and they wanted to open a second location because business was going well for them. So we did a heat map of all the pet stores in Connecticut, and then we did a heat map of all the pet owners in Connecticut. We looked at both maps. So we were able to see where there was a lot of pet owners, but no pet stores anywhere in that same location. And we pinpointed all those areas where they could open up their next pet store. I'm certainly no economist, so I really hope that pet store owner is doing well today. But there are other ways that you can use it past just generating lists. Okay. So point being, you can find a list of companies by their industry, by their geographic location, by the size of that company, and whether or not they've got a website available for you to find a job on their website itself. There's many different ways that you can structure your search depending on your unique interests. So I'll leave it open to you guys. If you want me to look for a specific search now, let me know, and I'm happy to do so on your behalf. I'm going to type in my personal info into the chat box, and if you ever want to follow up with me directly on what the best way to run your job search is, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, TJ. That's very helpful because I've heard some newer or some tips that did not occur to me. As we do, well, in normal times, we would do a monthly Reference USA review, a class that's from the market research angle for folks who want to start a business or expand a business. So, so it's really helpful to see where really you want to come at a job search from the market research angle as well, as this workshop title suggests, uncover, all the possibilities. So this has been enlightening for me, and I'm happy to see that we actually are recording. That'll give me a chance to review some of the things that were a little newer to me, and that to reiterate those during our regular classes, which we will roll out virtually going forward, at least during social distancing restrictions. So I encourage anybody who's still on the call to take TJ up on his offer to run a search. If you want to, type into the chat an idea, you're running a business or looking for, a job, going once, going twice.
I'll hang around for a little bit. So
yeah, we're at 12:52, so we've got space, at least for a couple of good questions. If anybody wants to pipe up.
Yeah, one thing I like to say is, I've done a lot of interviews for Info Group, and there's nothing wrong with bringing your resume and yourself into your interview, but if you bring something else beyond that, it's really impressive to the employer. It shows that you did your homework and your extra research, and shows that you're committed to securing that position. So if there's anything in Reference USA that you find interesting that you could discuss during your job interview, by all means, print it out, extract it, bring it into that interview, and talk about it. They'd be interested to hear what you have to say.
And in much the same spirit, if you are, running a market test for starting a business, your prospective customers want to know as well that you've done your homework, that you're approaching them more personably, based on some data. They may be, I think, pleasantly surprised to know that you took the time, to create a more personal message, a more personal targeting message, as you're trying to start a new business.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask a question? Like the search programs that they have available, does that search, or could that search actually include foundations that may be more apt to work with Willis Slater Productions? Can he hear me, or just you?
I can't.
Able
Yeah,
to
we can hear you, Ms. Slater.
Okay.
Say that. Would you ask one more time? I want to be sure I'm understanding.
Okay. You know what? I'm sorry I had to leave the room for a minute. I am a caregiver for my mom, but I came back in and he was saying something about run a search on companies that you may be interested in. However, I was asking if it's possible to do a foundation search on foundations that would be interested in Willis Slater Productions.
So you in looking for support for your organization from the grant funders, is that what you're saying, Ms. Slater?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so TJ, I want to throw this over to you. How do we go about looking up nonprofits, say by industry code? Is that an effective way to to find those search results, or is there another way we'd want to go about finding what we would call grant makers, or I don't know what the exact industry term would be.
Okay, so great question, and you're really going to keep me on my toes because that's a difficult ask. What you're asking is very difficult to do.
I concur. I've tried that myself, and that's why I'm putting you on the spot, because I've found myself at odds with trying to nail down that code for nonprofits or grant makers or whichever.
Yeah. Well, the easiest answer I can give you is you can search very basically for nonprofits, associations, and foundations using the industry code. So if I just typed in nonprofits, and you click on nonprofit organizations or associations, and then you can also click on associations. The problem that I have is underneath the umbrella of nonprofit organizations, it doesn't tell you what their mission is, and you can't designate it by the industry. So you're doing a broad search for all nonprofit organizations. It's not going to designate exactly what they do. Mm-hmm. There is a way to do that, but it's incredibly complicated, and you can't reference USA. So you would have to get a data nerd like me to do it on the backside, and there's always a price involved with that.
Okay. But
if you just want to run a search for nonprofit organizations underneath a certain geography, you could do that.
Okay. And
thank you,
Miss Slater. You and I, and I'll say this to everybody, I'm always available, as TJ is. TJ is with Info Group, is an expert on this product, ReferenceUSA. I'm here as your friendly librarian. So between the two of us, hopefully you can get what you need. But anyone is welcome to visit the bibblib.org/BANC to set up a one-on-one tutorial with me. And we can kind of work through some strategies together. I tend to think for nonprofit organizations, we may want to work with what we know, or I say funding organizations. We know some of them have name reputation in this community. I would suggest that maybe we could drop a name of a community foundation or Knight Foundation into ReferenceUSA and look at the business profile to see what kinds of codes are used. What sorts of industry codes, and maybe get a lead that way. So but then of course, we can always check back with TJ where we get stuck. So it's a good question, Ms. Slater. I'm glad you brought it up because I've wanted our nonprofit folks to also understand the benefits of using this tool. So let's you and I do be in touch, Ms. Slater, on that. Thank you for that question. And TJ, we do have another question in the chat from Christy. She's starting a pet care business of her own and is looking for the kind of information she'd want to find in what would her approach need to be in Reference USA. And you just sort of touched on it there with pet owners and pet suppliers, pet product suppliers, and sort of getting an idea for what the need might be. So Christy, maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about the kind of pet care business you're trying to start.
Sure. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much, TJ, for your time and your information. Thank you so much, Jennifer, too, as well. I'm starting a dog walking service of my own independently. So I'm kind of looking at my competitive prices of what other people charge and how long they do it and how many dogs and whatnot, just kind of doing my homework on other people's services and trying to present on what my own would be as far as my area and my radius and what I want to reach out, and just wanted to see where I need to reach out on the side as far as support for that. And
sure. Okay. So there's a lot you can do in Reference USA for what you're trying to accomplish. And let me just say, as a dog owner myself, you're starting a business that could very well be a gold mine. If you looked around the rest of my room, so I have a lovely background, but if you're looking at the floor, it's just a bunch of ravaged dog toys. So I've got a little myself, and he's got a lot of energy, and I got to walk him at least once per day, and sometimes it gets really tiring. So I think, number one, find out who your competitors are and see what market share is available to you. So it sounds like you've already done a little bit of that. So you've done, research on what your competitors are charging, so that you can, appropriately price yourself into the marketplace. So that's very smart. So run a search in the U.S. business database for other dog walking organizations. And my advice is to use the industry search, that keyword search, and type in as many dog related keywords that you can think of so that you can find all your competitors. After you know who they are, run some Google searches, use Reference USA, list out their websites, find out those prices just as you have been. My other advice to you would be to use our U.S. Consumers and Lifestyles module. This module shows individual consumers' buying behaviors, lifestyle interests, and hobbies, one of which is, are they a pet owner and do they own dogs? So based on their purchasing behaviors, if they have rewards card programs, open lines of credit with PetSmart, with other pet stores, based on their home income, you can designate whether they're highly inclined to purchase services related to dogs, and you can produce a list of names, addresses, and phone numbers of the individuals who are probably going to be likely to be your customer. Now, the marketing side of things are a little expensive. So if you do plan like a mailing campaign, just know there's going to be a significant cost with that, like 50 cents per postcard that you're sending out to each of these potential customers. But I would figure out, if you haven't done this already, where do you want to open your store? And then find people within a close geographic area that have high interest in dogs. Now you might benefit from actually scheduling a call with me after this, because there's so many different routes you can take from your question. So it's really open-ended.
Okay. Okay.
Hopefully that helps and doesn't overwhelm you, but.
No, it does.
I have a question though. Before you can open a service, you really do have to have some kind of training and knowledge about dogs, right? I mean, you just don't start off walking, because some dog breeds are very large and very demanding. They drag you all over the place. So I would suggest you do your research on the type of dogs you want to walk, and find out about, their demeanor and their behavior and that kind of thing. I think, I don't know anything about dogs, okay, but I do watch dog shows occasionally.
That's what I've been doing as well. It's on the end of mental health for dogs as well too, and all types of breeds and their personalities. So I've had to come at it a lot of different ends. It's not just sticking your business card in somebody's mailbox. So I've had to kind of do my homework a lot on it. So I'm doing some starting off independently personal dog walking, because I have 4 of my own. And I've had my whole life.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get started going the right way.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Christy, if you ever need to know anything about Shiba Inus, I've got a wealth of information. Sassy breed.
I would love to chat with you about that. I do.
Excellent. That was great. I appreciate that business example from, I know it's not an example to Christy, but it is an example for the rest of us who are looking to, number one, identify competitors, and also identify who's interested. So in other words, find the market.
Right.
And thank you, Ms. Slater, for jumping in about the research piece. You do want to research your, in I guess for Christy's case, the product. The dog is part of the product or part of the service. So and TJ, thank you for covering those bases. So please do keep in mind that TJ is available for direct consultation, as he mentioned earlier, and I am as well. You can go to bibblib.org/bank to set up a tutorial with me, and it may be there that we decide that we need to go ahead and get you set up to talk to TJ. With that, we are at 1:05. So we've made it a successful hour thus far. Are there any last minute thoughts or questions?
May we stay on the line for a couple of minutes following the conference call, please, or the session? Do you have time?
I do, Ms. Slater. Are you wanting to talk with me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes.